So if you scroll around social media recently, you'll see that a lot of people have been leaving Spotify, which check out last week's episode that we had to see more thoughts about that, or 2 weeks ago,
2
was
weeks
it?
ago.
2 weeks ago. And a lot of artists before that too have been talking about how I don't do streaming platforms. I just throw my music on Bandcamp and that's all I need. I've made way more money on Bandcamp than I've ever made on streaming platforms. And you'll see people actually have proof of this and show you that they're making all these sales. But what I have found is for most artists who are on both, who actually promote their music, who actually try to get their music heard, they make way more money on streaming typically, unless they're in a unique niche, than they do on Bandcamp. And I ran a test recently where I tried like my normal ad thing that goes to streaming services, but tried it to send people to Bandcamp because people have been asking me for this for years. I'll probably do a video on it in the future. But uh, the result was first, when I set it up, just for context, you're usually running clips of your music on Facebook, Instagram ads, and there's a button where they can click to take them to a landing page where they can go to Spotify or Apple or Deezer or whatever. I tried that exact same thing, but instead I made Bandcamp the top option and then kept every streaming service except for Spotify because Spotify just kind of consumes all, right? And that first test was after I think like $10 of ad spend and I don't remember how many conversions on there, but like let's say 50 click throughs or whatever. I think it might have been less than that. But there was like 7 clicks to Qobuz and 8 clicks to Apple or Amazon Music and 5 to Apple Music and basically everything but Bandcamp. There were 0 conversions to Bandcamp. So I said, let's take off everything except Bandcamp and email opt-in. So it's just Bandcamp and email opt-in. And then after additional like $15 of ad spend, 0 conversions to Bandcamp.
Wow.
And the thing is, in the ad, it says something along the lines of Bandcamp fans or something similar. We just made our entire discography free. Pay what you want on Bandcamp. Click the link below to download it. So it's literally free. 0 conversions to Bandcamp. And I think what that shows is, one, like I'm sure a lot of people will say, well, you know, Andrew, your band just sucks. Fuck you. Bandcamp's great.
Done.
But but I've run free download campaigns extensively, and I've gotten people like for example, me saying, "Hey, grab my band's song as a download, just enter your email." And I've gotten that for, depending on the song, depending on the ad, 80 cents a pop, $1.50 a pop in the US only kind of thing. The only difference here is the Bandcamp aspect of things. And so I think what this shows is not many people use Bandcamp is really the answer.
There's 2 things, I think. One, I genuinely don't see pickup on Bandcamp use under people dated like 25. When I do consulting calls with younger people, they have no clue. My assistant is really big on Bandcamp, and like his band has been one of the best selling like metal bands on Bandcamp multiple times. But so he always preaches it, but like a lot of our younger clients don't get it. So I think that's a piece. I also think it's highly, highly, highly genre specific. That I think that, and not even like metal, because Andrew makes metal. I'm assuming this was for,
For
you
my
know,
band.
but
Very different type of metal.
Yeah.
Though.
But this
Like,
is what I'm
mine
saying. This is
like alternative metal.
this is what I'm saying. Is that like more like I listen to a lot of like weird black metal records you can only get on Bandcamp, but like those people like use Bandcamp, but the majority of genre, I would probably say the majority of genres are not really Bandcamp people. And I also think that Bandcamp is running into a lot of they're running into a lot of walls with user base in a similar way to how pre Daniel X exciting investments people were mad about the predatory nature of Spotify. People were already mad about the predatory nature of Bandcamp and how they take payments and stuff. And they're pretty transparent, but it is a pretty decent sized chunk. And also, you're not getting paid for people who stream on Bandcamp. I personally am a really big fan of a new service called Ampwall, developed by my friend Chris Grigg. That's kind of an improved Bandcamp, both for the artist and the user, and artists make more money with it. Just wanted to put that out there.
I always feel like if I saw that ad, Andrew, I would be like, I don't want MP3. Like and it's funny because talking to you guys, the in my world, MP3s are weird. People don't know what to do with them. But talking to you guys, it doesn't seem like that's the case in other genres and other demographics. But I genuinely, like, if you gave me an MP3 on my phone, I'd be like, I don't even know how to engage with this.
I have
I'll
the same as
figure
you.
it out, I guess, if I really want to listen to it. But I'd sooner
Yeah.
have an unlisted YouTube link to listen to something.
Mm.
And I think that would prevent me from participating at all.
There's kind of like a extension of this is that, as I mentioned, I've done like free downloads of songs for email, and that can work quite well, even though, as you pointed out, a lot of people don't care about digital files. But when it comes to selling digital files, I found it significantly easier to sell CDs and vinyl. Like,
Yeah, because you
I
get
did
something.
yeah, because like, especially from the perspective of a CD is just a digital file, but now you have a physical thing, and it's often like roughly the same price if you're selling this
If
full price.
only
I mean, you can
NFTs would take off.
if
Uh,
only.
Then we
But
could have
the-
a digital version of that now.
To pile on though a little of what Matt said, like I think people really do underestimate how much the cultural thing is because, like, like How Music Charts, which is Chartmetrics blog, a few weeks ago had a great article on how big it is for early in artist careers on SoundCloud when you're really weird experimental hip hop or your EDM or weird forms of dance music, and then the funniest thing too is, like, you say to some people, you say Beatport sales or downloads, and they look at you like, I have no idea if you're making that up or not. But to a dance person, that's the end of the game. And Bandcamp, like I was saying this when we were discussing it a few weeks ago, it's like Bandcamp at one point for Man Overboard, when I managed them around 2010, was like our greatest funnel of all time. And then some of the artists, like an artist that'll be unnamed I worked with for many years is like a crust punk band, and we could literally pay rent off of Bandcamp sales on some of their apartments because it does so well in that genre. And that is the thing, is that so much of this is knowing your culture and knowing your community.
I think if you're experimental electronic, ambient music, some unique subgenres of metal, and there's probably a bunch of others, it like there's a whole scene on that.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying like don't bother putting music in Bandcamp. Like no matter what, if you're an artist, you should put your music everywhere essentially, and that includes Bandcamp, in my opinion. But I've seen some people. One guy I know said he uploaded his album, and the first week he uploaded it, he got I think he said 15 album sales, no promotion, just their discovery mechanism.
Mhm.
And in the genre he's in, apparently people really dug it. And I made my music, I uploaded up our band's discography before we made it pay what you want. And someone bought the whole discography the first week I uploaded it randomly. So either an existing fan found it and bought it, or something on Bandcamp put it in their feed or discovery mechanism, and someone found it and liked it.
I have music nerd friends who search certain tags on Bandcamp very regularly to discover
Get
music
outta
because they
here.
don't listen to Spotify. No, and this is the funny
Yeah.
thing, is it's the same people. They're like record producers, and then they buy flax of them because, like, they want that highest quality. Like Matt's friend Mark
Lossless,
Urselli, who's a
whatever.
great producer, he has like the craziest system for downloading all that stuff because he can hear the fidelity and he wants all that fidelity. I'm only a snob enough to that if I really love a record, I'll listen to it on Tidal.
I have like this is kind of an aside, but like a moderately hot take, I guess, that I think most of the people that they're complaining about, like, I don't know, like certain qualities of WAV files or FLACs or whatever, are just placeboing themselves into hearing the difference. I can't tell the difference.
Title
I can't
stock
tell the difference
drop
between-
somewhere.
Or they're like,
Shut up,
like-
Andrew.
or like a 44.1 file versus a 48 versus a 96 or etc. Right?
I
It's
can
like,
hear that.
I can't hear the difference between an MP3 and a WAV file. And I've taken like multiple A/B tests online. Maybe my hearing's just not the best or something, but like,
Well, it's perception. It's not even hearing. I feel like the humans have different capabilities of perception of certain frequencies.
I need to catch a train, but I'm just gonna say going to a bunch of crust punk shows without earplugs still means I can tell the difference between MP3 and waves.
I wear earplugs at every show I go to protect my hearing, and, like, I still cannot tell. So maybe that proves that it's really a
Well,
perception
I
thing,
think
not
it's a
not
okay,
perception thing.
I can actually tell you the science of this since I
He's like,
do
I
know.
actually know the right answer.
Matt's like, "Hold your thought, Jesse. I'm gonna go catch my train, and then you can continue."
So the biggest problem people have when they're trying to analyze things is they're not on high quality enough things, or there's something in the path that is taking down resolution. So that sometimes can be shitty cables between the speakers and the interface. Sometimes can be the interface, sometimes can be the converter. So for example, if your converter is a Macintosh converter, that's going to take away a lot of it. When you have a insanely nice chord converter like I do, that you're able to hear a lot more of the nuance. But what we used to do, so I'm part of a record producer community where what we would do is we would deem it that you can't tell the difference if you can't get it right 3 times out of 5. And we would do that with a lot of things and see if, like, there'd be 12 producers drinking and hanging out, and there would be a lot of things we could actually hear in the right environment, in the right thing. And then there's some things you can't hear. The other thing is what people often don't do is they don't know what to listen to. So for example, bad cables will dull the drum hits, the start of them, the transient, but everybody's listening for the frequencies, like, "Oh, I still hear all the treble." It's like, that's not what's gonna make the difference. It's gonna actually be the dulled transient on the bad cable. So, you have to also know where you're listening. Like, I know for 96, you really wanna listen to the air band.
So when it gets to that point where you have to know what you're looking for, doesn't that kinda mean that, like, the vast majority of people that aren't, like, producers and stuff, like, they're probably just placeboing themselves anyways because there's no way they would ever know any of that stuff?
There is that thing that you don't need to know, but there's also this thing that we talk about a lot. Alan Douches, the mastering engineer, calls it, accumulating subtleties. That what you're trying to do in the recording process is you're trying to get all these nuances that add up, and then when it's taken down to a shitty level, you still have a good thing that you built off of. But whereas when you cut those corners all the time, you're just getting kind of this dull image that's not as clear, and the other thing being too is different styles of music do it. When you're listening to metal for this, it's very hard, but like a folk classical string guitar and you listen to the reverb tail or the way that the room tone is, you can hear it a lot better.
It's a good point. The genre thing is probably massive.
Yeah.
Now you're listening to, like, I don't know, Slaughter to Prevail or something.
I
It's just all distortion and screaming and
You don't listen for all those frequencies?
yeah, yeah. I mean, they're there, but, it's like guitars are just smashed and the limiting is crazy and,
Yeah. I always think it's funny because this is my speaker for everything that I do. Like, this is my medium. Like, this is my job, and we were doing a shoot the other day, and I brought in, like, a pro to do a live recording, and it sounded
I saw
so
the mic
good.
pre's your pro had are like the best mic pre's, like, in my opinion, period, flat out.
Wait, did I
Wow.
did I send you something?
You posted a picture of it
Oh, yeah.
online, and I saw the pre's there, the undertone audio, and I've AB'd a million mic pre's, and, like, those are the
Really?
best ones of all time.
I'll let them know. Like, I mean, I don't know shit about it, and I was still like and we were listening, and I was like, "This is so good." And then I was like, "Dude, you're gonna be so bummed when I'm done with this because it's going through a speaker this big, and it just sucks, but it's like, that's the job."